Have you ever been scrolling through your feed on Roblox and you think to yourself, how exactly are these games made? After years, hours put in, all the time you've put in, all the effort into playing these games, you start to wonder to yourself, how exactly do I make these games? And at one point, you may think, well, it's too hard. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to script. I don't know any building. I don't know how to do anything really for these core games. And you might think, well, this is going to be too much for me and it's too hard. I'm here to tell you that it's not really that hard. And that may sound like I'm being egotistical or I'm just saying that because I know how to script in a pretty, I would say, a generally above average way. It's actually a lot easier than you think. And in this tutorial series that I'm going to be doing, my main focus and goal is to treat every single person who watches these videos to teach as if they have no prior knowledge to coding, they have no clue what it does, and they have generally no clue where to start, honestly. The whole point of this series is that, well, there's a bunch on YouTube. However, I would say that some do need some refinement. I'm not saying all are bad, but I feel like my method of teaching and my ideology through scripting may benefit you more than someone else's scripting tutorials ideology, and maybe the things that I implement into my scripting and my coding may help you. All right, first thing is first, you do want to open up Roblox Studio. If you don't already have it downloaded, go ahead and do so. And you want to create a new base plate. Roblox has a bunch of templates, but for this tutorial guide, or this series, in fact, we're just going to be using the regular base plate. It's nothing crazy. First thing is first, this may look like very intimidating at first. You have all of these different services on the side in your Explorer. You have all of this. You look through everything here and you may think, well, what am I even looking at? I'm kind of scared. What am I supposed to do? Don't worry. Don't fear. A lot of the things in here you won't even use. These are all tools. These are all to help you. They're not here to be detrimental. These are all applicable if wanted and if needed, but these are all just you can just take a look at everything here if you ever need it. I've never used this service right here. I've never used this, but I'm sure there are people who use some of these to help them, and I don't. But I'm here to show you guys what exactly the basics are. What even is a script? Today's video, I'll show you how a server, client, what is a script, what exactly does it do, and how to manipulate scripts in Studio. So the first thing is first, what I am going to say is let's just play test real quick. If this is the first time in Studio, if you do play test and you go ahead and just walk around, it loads you in. It does, it emulates like a real Roblox game. And so far we have really nothing. This is a pretty boring base plate. Nobody would play this. If you've seen this on the homepage and you played this game, you would probably dislike it. So we can configure it, and from here we can build up. Every single one of your games will have a point like this. You'll start really small and low, and then you'll build up from there, and you always add on. No good game has ever just started off like that. So the first is, I do want to show you what a client and a server is. So I don't have a good example, but I will say these services on the right are what's in our game. So before we actually do server versus client, let's actually get these down. So this is the workspace, and the workspace is basically everything that is shown in our game, our map and everything. Inside of workspace, we have our spawn location where we spawn, and our base plate, and then we have our camera and our terrain. Terrain is, you probably, if you're not a builder, you probably don't mess with this. I personally don't even touch terrain. On camera, we can configure this is just the user's camera. You might not use it. It doesn't matter. Don't be too intimidated. And then that's really about it. Inside the workspace, there are actually in all of these services, you can just press this plus sign if you hover over it. And inside of this plus sign, there's a bunch of different things you can add. These are all for you. You can go ahead and add whatever. The ones that are grayed out are generally, I can't add these to the workspace. I could add in a dialog to the workspace, but I can't really configure it because it's in the workspace. But for now, the most basic thing is a part. And boom, when you add a part in, you can just mess around with it. You can scale it, you can move it, you can do really whatever with this part. But you can also have this properties tab right under it. So we have usually, normally you would have, if you come into this view page, you would have Explorer and Properties open. And basically Explorer shows you all the surfaces in our game. Right here we have our workspace and our properties of whatever we have selected. So if you select nothing, there's no properties to look for. But if we look at our part, For example, our brick color. So the part is gray, and we see right here it's gray. And then we can just make it teal, red, pastel light blue. That's a nice color. We can mess with the reflectance. Oh wow. We can mess with the transparency. We can mess with the material. You can make it really bright, like with neon. Oh my god, get that out of my face. You can make it leather. You can just mess with these however you want. This is everything in Roblox Studio is highly dependent on however you want it, and you can do exactly. It's powering. Their motto is powering imagination. Do exactly how you want. Mess around. I would say honestly, for a beginner, go around, go in studio, just mess around, just make mistakes, go delete whatever, just go get the basically the handlement of studio down. Don't be in here and you feel like, man, what am I doing? I don't know where to start. Your head's all cluttered. Just mess around, just get used to it, get comfortable with it, and then from there you can start building and start doing building your project. But over here, for example, we have all of these properties, these behaviors for it, and from here we can, from our scripts as well, because this is a scripting tutorial. We can modify all of this, and I'm going to show you guys that in a second. Before we do that, I do want to say these on the side, some of these I don't use sound service. This is just tools. Remember, these are all tools. These are not musts. You don't have to use every single thing. These are all just if you do need it, Roblox has it for you. Remember, Roblox provides stuff for you and our services for you. They provide all of the things in the studio, all the tools that you might need, but not everything is a must need. And you can pick the road. You can follow any path you want in studio. I do want to say is before we actually start with our scripts, I do want to say that scripts, what they are, is you can add a script, and our script basically is it'll automatically say print hello world because what was it called? Our this is the beginning of our script and in the beginning of your coding journey. I do want to say this is very useful. I'll tell you guys this right now. If you hop in the view tab, and right here you should see the output tab. If you run this, you can see all the things happening in your game. And this blue and green, well, actually, no, this shouldn't even be there. But if you run now, we have this print statement. If you run, output will show hello world. How nice is that? This green is our server, and this blue is our client. Think about what I just said for a second. Well, don't think about it because you don't know. But that's what I'm going to tell you guys right now. This blue is our client. This green is our server. What does that mean? What is client and what is server? The client, for example, our server, we have our server scripts. This is where we put our scripts generally. And we have our server storage. This is where we can also put our scripts, but we usually don't put scripts in server storage. We have our replicated storage. We have our replicated first and our starter player scripts. These are client. And we have our GUI, which is also client. What exactly does that mean? What is server and what is client? Well, a server script, which is the white script. So if we see right here, our server script, this is a server. This applies to the whole server. Everybody sees this. Everybody gets the reaps what happens in this script. Our client script, for example, if we pull it up, our blue script, well, this is only to the player, to the client. So for example, I'll show you right now. An example would be, you would put, let's say, a data script in the server, because that would be applicable to everybody. Everybody has not the same, like, okay, oh, this is a good example. Everybody has the same data system. For example, they have coins, rubies, kills, whatever, but not everybody has the same coins, rubies, and kills. That would be on the client. The client is specific to the player, while the server is global. See, server is global, client is local. So for example, if somebody would pull up a frame, if that logic was done on the server, then if I clicked the frame, then everybody's frame would pop up if I clicked it. But if I'm done on the client, then for example, if I clicked a frame, then that would pop up only for me because I'm the one who fired that for me. However, if I had that logic on the server script, like this white script instead of a blue one, then it would go ahead and do that for everybody. See how that doesn't make any sense? That's why server and client is very important, because we have to manipulate data, which is scripts. That's what a script is. That's what coding is. We're manipulating data, basically. We're not manipulating, but we're creating and manipulating. We're building and constructing certain data, and we're basically configuring it as well. That's what a script does. And we, as the coder, make it. We talk to the script, we talk to the computer, and we tell it exactly this is what we want to happen. This is what we want to do, line by line, by code, by script. So I did tell you guys what happened with the data, with the example of how client versus or local versus global. How if I click the frame, for example, or even better, a daily reward system. If I had 5 days a streak, why that wouldn't apply if that was done globally on a white. Well, it is done on the white script, the logic. I will say that. But my streak, for example, you wouldn't have the same streak for everybody. Everybody would have a streak, which would be done on the white scripts, on the server scripts. Everybody would be having a streak, but on the blue script is where you'll actually configure if the person's streak is changing, or you'll manipulate their script. Well, actually, in some cases, you might do it on the white script. But you get what I'm saying, how global and local. Global is it's broad for everybody. Local is specific to that person. That broadness in that person. The person has their own niche. I hope that does explain server versus local. Local is a player, one more time. And a server, global, is every single player. The logic is not for everybody or the game. Server would be for the server, game. And the local would be for the player, basically. Let's actually get rid of that. So for example, if I put a script inside of the part, anything that happens in this script, well, not actually, but if I were to configure this part with this white script, then every single player would be seeing that. So for example, like in an obby, you would see that a person's, let's actually get rid of this. A person's script will, what am I saying? In an obby, a part will be spinning. For example, a red kill brick would be spinning around. That is done on the white server because everybody will be applicable to that part. But if there was an arrow pointing towards the checkpoint, that would be local. That would be every person's arrow is different. But the logic for that is still done on the server. It's applicable to everybody. It's just that everybody's data inside that logic is different. I'm on checkpoint 5. This guy's on 3. So the arrow for me is on checkpoint 5, but the arrow for you is on 3, and we don't see the same arrow. You get that? But the logic is still the same. That's the difference between a server and local. I really wanted to get that out the way of server and local. I will literally provide 30 more examples in the comments if you don't get it, because server and local is very important. There's many times when people do things like data on a local script, and do not do that. You do your data on a server script. That way it's applicable to everybody instead of just the client. If you're doing a single player game, even in that sense, it wouldn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Even in that sense, it wouldn't make any sense. I really hope you do understand the difference between a server and a client. For the most part, we will be working with server scripts because we're going to be manipulating the whole game. But we will dabble into local and client scripts. If you do check into this plus arrow and you look at every type of script, you will see there's the white one, our server, and the blue one, our local. And you'll see that this purple one, don't worry about it for now. This one deserves its own, this module script, it deserves its own video, a whole different topic. This one is very important later, but it's not needed at all. You can make a very successful game without this purple one. However, it's very useful, but you don't have to use it. I actually kind of hate the purple script, I'm not going to lie. But I refer to this as purple script just to get it in your mind. But this module script, we'll deal with this later. So I remember looking at this, I knew a local and script, but I was like, what is this module? Module will be done later. We'll talk about that later. Don't even worry about that. But for now, we're going to wrap up this video in a second. Let's first add our first script. And we'll call it print, because that is the first thing I'll be telling you guys how to do in a script. So the first thing I will say, a script, what it does, it configures what happens in our game. And a script, when we type in it, there's different commands and keys to talk to the code and talk, or actually for us to code and talk to the computer or the game and tell it what to do. And we can do anything. Well, we can't actually do anything because look how we get this red squiggly line. We have to talk very specific to the computer, and we have to speak in code, basically. That's what it is. That's why it's called coding. We speak in code to the computer, and the computer takes that, or whoever made the code, the language, whatever geniuses made this language for Roblox, it'll understand it, and it'll do as we command it. We are the commanders, and the script obeys us. That's how it works. The language for Roblox is very easy. There's a bunch of different languages for code. The Roblox one is basic. The syntax is basic English. You see how it says, like, you see these red while and do and then. You can make sense of what they will do just by reading the script or reading basically what's in the code. You can understand just by reading it. There are some languages which you cannot fully understand. You just by looking at it, you will not understand. But it is kind of the way I see it. Code in Roblox language in Lua U, it's basically broken English, bro. There's look at this. Then like, you can understand from here, like, if then this happens. You can understand while this do. You know what I mean? But these deserve their own episodes. These are completely different. I don't want to overload you with knowledge and just spill into your mind that everything that is going to take your time on this. I'm going to guide you guys through everything as if you don't know anything. And the first thing I want to teach you guys, the first thing we want to do before we wrap up this video is print statements. A print, if we just type print, right here, Roblox provides us documentation and all values to the output. This is a description of what this does. Print, you'll see when you type, Roblox will have like, this scroll frame, which are all things related to it, of what you typed. It's very useful. But we're gonna just type it. If you press enter, it'll just do it for us. It'll just print it, type it in for us. And a print statement, what it is a function made by Roblox that will help us out, and it's a helper statement. Not, well, actually, no, they do. But a print statement, basically, inside of these little parentheses, what you do is you put in, what's it called? Right here, you put in a string value. This is called a string, by the way. When you put in these double apostrophes, you put them in here, and you basically tell the script, hey, I want this to go in the output. Remember how we had hello world? It said print hello world. Well, guess what? If we type this in, the script will run. And look at this. We're looking at our output. My output is different because I have a bunch of plugins. The fuck? What happened? Oh, I put in server storage, not server scripts. So that's why. The script will not run the server storage. It runs the service. This is where you put your scripts in. There we go. Sorry. Hello world. You run it in, and you press this, and it types out hello world into our output. What prints are good for is it basically tells us if a script is running or not. When we run our game, every single one of our scripts, if they are enabled, so right here, our script is enabled, the property for it is enabled. It's actually true. You can disable scripts as well. Every time I re-enable it, look, it runs again. But when the script is first ran, basically every single line in here, we have only one line, will run one by one time. So whatever happens, will run one time. So what I mean by that is this will happen one time. Later, I'll explain more in the depth what that means. But for now, just know it goes one by one each line. So order does matter, not all the time, but sometimes it can actually be death or night and day. So order does matter a little bit, and depends what context. But right here, we press print, and inside of these curly braces, inside of these double apostrophes right here, and our string value. This is what a string is. We can just type whatever. So let's actually stop playing real quick. We can type whatever, and it'll print out into our output. And it's very useful. We're gonna use print statements a lot to, if you buy a weapon in the shop, or it'll print out right here, a weapon bought successfully. There's just for errors, it's for handling. You don't need print statements, but they're super duper successful, and they're super duper freaking useful. Print statements are so useful. I highly recommend using them in practice. Just practice with them in your code. Even sometimes they can tell you what your code does. But you can mess around with this however you like. You can put multiple print statements. You can put print literally whatever. Please subscribe and like the video and share it with your friends. Please do that. You can put hello. This is my code, and it'll go one by one. It'll print this out first, and then subscribe. And if we test it out, hello, this is my code, and subscribe. Look at that. It went one by one. It went first right here. The computer read right here the first line, and then it read the second line. And it did what exactly we told it to print out, these two strings. And you can mess with it whatever you'd like. I will say you cannot print out, actually, no, you can. You can even print out, pretty sure you can print out. You cannot print out, I'm pretty sure. No, you can! Oh, shit, I forgot about that. I was thinking, I don't know why I had a brain fart. I was thinking that you're supposed to do it like this. You don't have to. But you can print out true. You can print out false. You can print out this, literally. Whatever. Oh wait, there's a number. There's a letter in there. It's not even. It's a number. You can print out. Oh my god. What did I do? I was trying to show something for the video and I messed up. You can print out 5-9, and it'll print out in our output. And we're gonna see later into this tutorial. Whenever we have anything that's not working, we have errors, or just to make sure something is working, we will use print statements to tell us or to speak back to us. Basically, a print statement is like our code talking back. Not really, but I hope you guys understand exactly what that does. If you have any questions, just let me know. And that'll be it for the video. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, staying till the end of the video. Please, if you guys want more tutorials like this, like, subscribe. I'll make a full series in depth on how to code in Roblox Studio, and how to get started in Lua and learn the basics and become advanced. I hope you guys understood the difference between server and client, and I hope you guys got the hang of print statements. Go into Studio, mess around with print statements, and just print whatever your heart wants. Go find out what you can't print. Go find out what you can print. Go do exactly whatever, and just pour your heart out into these print statements. And my challenge for you today in this video, guys, is try printing out like a hierarchy. For example, what I mean by this is like using print statements, something like this. Wait, I did it wrong. something like this, something cool with our numbers or with our statements. See this? And it'll print in this order, and look in the output, it would look kind of cool. See that? How it goes down? My challenge for you today in this tutorial, guys, is to go just have fun in your print statements and do something cool like this. Also, when we hover over it, it tells us exactly where the script is and what script it is. I literally did not know that until right now. That's actually very useful. Well, you learn something new every day. Alright guys, in our next tutorial, I will show you guys what local is. Here's a sneak peek. Local and variables. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what local even means and what a variable even is. I hope from this you can tell exactly what these two are. But that's for you to find out in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.